You can summarize the two Arcane seasons with just the two sex scenes on the show. I'm not kidding. Arcane has only two seasons, guys. What are you talking about? It ended with Jinx exploding the council. There's no second season. You guys are tweaking. Okay. I already know I'm gonna be attacked by every creature on the face of the earth that liked the fantastic scene that the creators gave us. But the more I start to think about it, the more I hated it. First things first, I love Arcane, okay? I watched the first season 7 times. Yeah, I'm autistic. How did you know? And I plan on watching it a lot more. I watched the second season twice, and the second watching was because my aunt wanted me to watch it with her, so it wasn't out of my own free will. The first season is superior. It's sexy, it's beautiful, it's traumatic, it's painful, it's peak, okay? I could spend hours explaining why it's so good, but people have beat me to it, and therefore I won't. I hate the second season. I can also go into it a lot, but people have done that, so again, I have been beat to it. So, with that being said, I will explain why I hate the second season in comparison to the first by using one scene only, the Bahuka Duka scenes in each season. Part 1. Jace and Mel. First season, we have Jace and Mel doing the Gangnam Style in a bedroom, a tower, I don't know where they are, balcony, somewhere. So let's start with the build-up. The scene starts with the two characters talking after an evening spent together at the opera. For those of you who can't remember, the scene is where Jace begins to allow himself to become more corrupted by doing business with the other counselors and prioritizing them over the safety of his people. The scene shows that Mel is influencing him as he goes further and further away from what he intended to with his hex tech. He's no longer only trying to change the world and help people with his ideas, but now he has entered a phase in his success where he feels he must be training his own morals. This is what slowly builds up to their Kabuya scene. Mel becoming a more influential figure in Jace's life. Up until this moment, it was Victor who influenced Jace, mostly with what direction they wanted to take their hex tech. So, let's talk about the scene itself and the setting. The scene begins with the two of them talking after the night at the opera. It's dark, the stars are above them, you can hear the nature and the sound of the hex gates in the background. They start talking. They're both feeling the adrenaline from their evening of chatting. They're both feeling each other, not literally, but, emotionally. There's flirting, there's tension, they're kind of joking around. There's an atmosphere building up. Jace opens up a bit about his goals with the Hex Tech and talks a bit about his family and building up the town. And Mel opens up back by talking about her own family, showing vulnerability on both sides. The tension becomes too much and they kiss. Mel initiates it. It's important because Jace is initially surprised. Look at this man's face. It should have been me, not him. He looks unsure, confused, and almost shocked that she kissed him. There's a scene specifically there for us to look him in the eye and see that in this moment 1,000 things are going through his head, but he still gives in. Pardon my English teacher interpretation levels, but Mel is mainly the one to initiate it. She even wraps her arms around him tightly, kind of showing that she's got a hold of him. And I know I'm reading into it a lot, but Arcane is all about the artistic direction, so let me fucking be, okay? If the sky is purple in this show, there's a reason why it's purple. If a door is red, there's a reason why the door is red. Then, the scene is interrupted to show Victor in his lab. The priorities of the two have become very different. Victor is dedicating his life and health to continue his research for Hextech. Everything is on the line for him as time is ticking. This creates a juxtaposition between the two as both things are happening at the same time. Victor's health is deteriorating as he desperately attempts to advance his knowledge of the runes, and Jace, in contrast, is going away from his original goals of Hextech as he becomes more corrupt and fully gives in to Mel. Victor practically becomes one with the idea of Hextech, while Jace seems to lose himself, or why he even started to do it in the first place. Victor rejects the advances of Sky, showing a stark contrast between him and Jace, and how they are prioritizing different things in their lives. The lab partners are becoming very different, but still losing themselves, so it's kind of showing how they're both going insane, but in different ways. Now, the hurrah scene occurs between the Victor scenes and vice versa. So it cuts between Jace and Mel becoming intimate and Victor locking the fuck in to try and have a breakthrough with the runes. Bro is grinding while his homie's getting grinded on. The climax of the scene, climax, get it, happens when Victor is fucking dying, coughing blood, and realizing he ain't got much time left. And Jason and Mel are getting freakity deakity. The animation and visuals. The visuals of the scene are magnificent. Mwah, mwah, chef's kiss, okay? Firstly, I'd like to say that I don't really like sex scenes. None of them, okay? I find them uncomfortable as shit and I cannot get secondhand embarrassment watching them. It just feels like I'm interrupting something that I shouldn't be there to watch in the first place. So why am I making a video exclusively about it? Because this is the best way that I can explain what's wrong with the second season, okay? So stay with me. The scene is also good because it's quite short, actually, or at least the swaswa itself is. And by swaswa, you know what I mean. They show a few shots of what they're up to, just so no one's unsure. And yeah, it gets freaky, but not too freaky. Like, it's intimate, it's them getting it on, yeah, but at least they're efficient with it. And the visuals, oh my god, the visuals, I'm gonna bust. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. What? The visuals of the runes, the fucking stars, are you kidding me? The creative liberty in this scene is fucking fantastic. It gets freaky, but it's so beautiful that I can't even get mad. The blood going inside of the runes and the way the scene is framed is absolute peak. I'm so sorry. It's not just a sex scene. The animators took time to make it into something visually appealing, okay? It feels intimate and beautiful. Now I know damn well I sound like a gooner by overanalyzing the scene and saying it's beautiful despite it being quote-unquote just sex. But it isn't. Y'all are gonna have to hear me out. All of this gets tied together by the music. The soundtrack is a beautiful instrumental dramatic song that perfectly adds layers to what's happening with the characters. There are no lyrics, but the scene doesn't require any. The visuals already carry it for us anyways. But the music, of course, is kind of like, if you add any other music, the effect of the scene might be quite different. The music completely changes videos and images, so it's important as fuck for anyone watching anything that the music is picked well. This choice of music in this scene sounds like betrayal, pain, hurting, but at the same time it sounds like love and intimacy. It shows both sides of what's happening in the evening with one single song. It builds up in intensity and then it peaks, climaxes, I don't know music terms. The music tenses when Victor's in pain, but it becomes lighter when Jason and Mel are together. The plot advance. The build-up feels natural and not forced. The two characters have chemistry, but also you can tell that they don't necessarily only like each other, but that there's something else for them to gain from it. Mel is most definitely using Jace, and it makes the scene all the more dramatic. When it came on screen, I didn't feel that it interrupted the story just for the sake of being there, unlike many other shows or movies do. I felt like there was some purpose to it. Yeah, again, I sound like a gooner, but honestly, it's all sensical when you stop to think about it. It's a short scene that has a purpose of showing that Jace and Victor are very different now. Jace is no longer prioritizing Hextech and his original plans, but also meddling with counselor business. And most of all, this scene moves the plot forward. You know, the things that a scene should do? The scene shows Victor rejecting Sky, becoming sick and passing out, shows Jace betraying his beliefs, and also shows him and Mel getting together officially, if you can even call it that. It also does a bit of foreshadowing about the Medardas and what will happen with Hextech. The scene needs to happen for other events to continue, like Victor at the hospital and explaining why Jace wasn't there for him. So no, the scene isn't pointless and couldn't just be cut out without us losing important parts of it and ruining the flow of the episode. That being said, I do know a scene that could be cut off from the season entirely and still make no fucking difference. Okay, I'll say this. I'm a lesbian. You know it's bad when a lesbian's saying that they enjoy the straight sex scene more than the lesbian one. But honestly, this is a hill I will die on. I feel gaslighted by the queer community sometimes when talking about this scene because everyone acts like it's the hottest, most amazing thing ever. It's fine if you think it is. What isn't fine is the fact that people, like, when someone disagrees, everyone will get feisty about it. I don't care if you love this scene. I don't care if you goon to it. I don't care if you like seeing Vi's back. I don't care. You can enjoy it, but let me be upset about it, okay? I don't like K-Vi. Oops, who said that? Who said that? Oh, I didn't say that. I liked them on the first season, okay? Second season just wasn't it. It wasn't, I'm sorry. The romance always felt really forced on the second season, and it always gave me a weird feeling in the back of my head that something wasn't right about it. I can't quite explain it, but it simply bugs me. Oh, no way. I do know what's not right. Maybe the fact that Caitlyn fucking hit Vi with a gun and then they never talked about it. And that Vi joined the fucking fascist gassing of her own people just for Caitlyn. What? No, never mind. Let's just focus on the Uko Uko, I guess. Let's talk about the context. Vi tries to fix things with Jinx and once again gets betrayed. She gets hit in the same spot that she gets hit. Every time this girl cannot catch a fucking break. And gets locked in Jinx's cell instead. In a moment of vulnerability, she lets her guard down for Jinx, who instead uses this as a moment to trap her there. This reflects a lot of what we've seen from Vi in trusting those who she cares about. Fine, it's believable that she wants to have a new chance with Jinx and believes the naive idea of them starting over. Jinx essentially tells her, I'm gonna explode myself so you don't have to worry, and then she dips, okay? Firstly, what pisses me off is you deserve to be with her. Girl, there are more important things than this. Like, I feel like this was just said because the writers wanted to show that it was going to lead up to the Sesbian Lex. But it feels a bit out of nowhere and random. Like, I don't know, it's this weird blessing that Jinx is giving them, and it feels kind of thrown in out of nowhere, given everything that's happening in the episode. No, yeah, but this is a great start for the intimacy scene, guys. Vi grieving, thinking her sister will die, and there's nothing she can do about it, while probably reliving what she had to go through when she first got arrested. Yeah, remember that? Vi got taken as a teen, and all she saw was powder with Silco. All the years that she spent in prison, she probably thought her sister was dead, and she couldn't do anything about it. So she's probably being forced to relive that moment now, which obviously means that this is the perfect timing for Caitlyn to show her Kira Mountains, according to the writers. Look, I get that this scene is supposed to be a parallel to how they first met, with Caitlyn taking Vi out of jail, and even the pose that Hai is hitting from the back being the same, being edgy. And when she and Caitlyn first locked eyes, wow, so romantic. But seriously, this is really the best setting that they could think of? The scene where they lay in bed and Vi talks about failing to protect Powder is so much more intimate and romantic. What? In this scene, Vi is extremely hurt and betrayed. She feels played and like a fool. She knows her sister's doing something and she can't control it. I chose wrong every time, and because of it, I lost everyone. She's saying this in distress, okay? She needs comforting, not comforting, bruh. Suddenly, Caitlyn leans on the wall like a fucking fuckboy and says the famous, "You really think I needed all the gauze at the Hex Gates? You've grown a bit predictable." And then Vi aggressively leans in for a kiss. Okay, she was the one to initiate it and not Caitlyn. This is great, guys. Either way, I'm pissed. Vi is emotionally unstable right now, or she should be if she were a normal person. Either way, it's pissy as hell. This isn't the time for it, bro. Keep it in your pants. The animation and visuals. Let's talk about it. It's boring. It's boring, guys. I'm sorry. Obviously, the quality of the animation itself is really good, but I'm not talking about that. Let's begin with the setting. Stinky prison, dirty walls and floors. All we have is the light coming through the cell bars. Very beautiful and romantic. Ah, yes. There's also 6 to 10 seconds of them just making out aggressively while eating each other's faces, and it's zoomed the fuck in, so I can basically only look at that. Then they're kissing their necks, then they're taking their clothes off, then they get interrupted for Caitlyn to say that she was banging someone else, the little ginger. And then Vi's like, I don't give a fuck. I just want to shabuya dahuya. And then they go at it. Majority of the scene is just them kissing and taking their clothes off and then touching each other. And then we basically get to watch their foreplay is what I'm trying to say. We see every little bit of it. And I don't care that it's gay. I simply can't handle watching stuff like this. I'm sorry. I know it's personal, but I can't. We see Vi give her head. For fuck's sake. They leave no room for imagination. And you want to know the worst part? I wouldn't even have cared if only they had made this a little more visually appealing. A few more different angles or more artistic ways to show them getting it on, All we got was just them going at it, essentially. There's nothing artistically appealing when watching this. The setting is gross. All we get are close-ups of them making out and getting naked and the actual positions they're gonna be hitting. I'll get back to it in the comparison, but you have to understand where I'm coming from. The music. I don't like the music for the scene. Listen, I listened to the song quite a few times. I actually fuck with the demo version that's available. I think it's good. It's more intimate and personal. I just don't like the version that we got is too on the nose. Not really matching the mood, or I guess matching the mood, but in a way that's odd and forced. It's loud and obnoxious, and the words "I'm feeling fantastic, I'm fucking fantastic" just really add to it, you know? Just in case you weren't unsure. I know that the music is one of the reasons why the scene also got famous, and no hate to the artist, like the song itself isn't bad. I just don't know if it helped build up the scene how it could have been built up the way it was with Jason Mel. This is just a lustful song, bro. It's like the fucking 50 Shades of Grey song or any other horny song out there. And this is why it pisses me off. Do we want to convey love and yearning, or just lust and the glorious ovulation? The plot advance. This scene advances nothing and achieves nothing except for the two characters' underwear being wet, I guess. We essentially are stopping the plot from moving forward for the duration of said scene because it brings absolutely nothing to the table. The last bit of important information given is that Jinx is leaving Vi to end her life without her sister being able to stop it. If we remove the scene, If we remove this entire sequence from the show and moved on to the scene afterwards, I can fucking tell you it wouldn't do anything. It serves no purpose except for fan service. That's what it is. The writers knew that the season was inferior and rushed, and decided that one of the ways to make up for it, while knowing that a lot of the audience was actually queer people who were hooked by the lesbian romance that was in the first season, they decided to give us this. Fully raw lesbian success. They knew they didn't have enough time to advance their romance, and that they would get backlash for their relationship being poorly done unless they did something to salvage it. So they decided to give us all the spicy lesbian last scene to keep us watching and not think about it too much, because why would we complain if we got the romance we wanted? But there was no romance. No. There was a promise of a romance, but not actual romance. No actual communication and chemistry. Nuh-uh. Vi and Caitlyn had a romance in the first season. It was vulnerable and painful, where we got to see them falling in love with each other despite everything they got through and have gone through on their own. They're different, but they find common grounds to stay on. On the first season, it's more love than it is lust. Second season is more lust than it is love. I can't feel like the two lesbians actually love each other on the second season. It just kind of feels like they just want to bang, and that's all. Like, they don't actually care about the well-being of each other. Their romance on the two seasons is extremely different, and I can't fucking stress this enough. The build-up to the scene makes no fucking sense. I'm so sorry. When they started fucking, I was extremely bamboozled, because it felt out of nowhere. There was no chemistry, no proper communication, no atmosphere that hooked me, no nothing. Jinx had just left to die, and the two of them were just getting at it. I read the comments of people saying that this is Vi prioritizing herself for the first time instead of Jinx, and let me tell you, this wasn't the right way to do that. Fucking hell, bro. Vi could have prioritized herself in many other ways, in any other setting. I feel like a sex scene was really not the proper and appropriate way to move on from the whole Jinx exploding herself thing, you know? I know this show and relationship is a big step for the queer community. Having this lesbian couple shown to get intimate on the same way that the straight couple did, and even more openly, I know, it's important for us. I know this. I'm a lesbian, and I've consumed a lot of queer media just to deal with internalized homophobia or to make my little gay heart happy. But when I see their relationship, I don't see an achievement. On the first season, yes. On the second season, absolutely not. I can't tell you. I can't see how their toxic and borderline abusive relationship can bring anything positive for our representation. Obviously, I'm not every gay person in the world, and people would disagree with me, and that's fine. This is just my opinion on it. One of my main points is about these two scenes is that they reflect on the quality of the show when comparing the first and the second season to each other. The quality in writing, artistic expression, music, and pacing are all reflected on these two scenes. You can see very well how the priorities of the plot have shifted and how the storytelling has changed from one season to the other. It's very clear when putting these scenes one next to the other that the quality of the show became worse on the second season compared to the first. I'm talking about plot, presentation, relevancy, expression, etc. This isn't just a rant about the sex scenes. This is a rant from a fan who's deeply disappointed by the show, and the best way that I could voice this was using these two scenes for comparison. Two scenes with one setting in common, the characters being intimate, but one with clearly superior writing and direction. Time for our comparison. Jace and Mel aren't getting intimate or out of love. Don't get me wrong. You're doing it out of lust and somewhat trying to find comfort in each other's arms. Mel is the main focus on the scene if you pay attention, as she's the one using Jace more than he is her. But you can see in the end she cuddles him, holding him. The scene has things to be interpreted from it. Their intimacy may not be 100% genuine, but in that moment they're giving each other what they can. It feels personal, and even though we don't get to see much of detail of what they're doing, hand gripping, shot of Jace's back, etc., it's very suggestive, but the way it's presented shows their relationship dynamic very well. Mel's the more dominant one, as she's stringing Jace along for her plans. Vi and Caitlyn are supposed to be genuine. Their feelings for each other are meant to resemble love more than lust. Of course, love also has lust, and they have been wanting each other for a long time, but the way that this was presented honestly just made them seem like they only want each other for carnal reasons and not emotional ones. They can barely communicate, and since we mainly see them getting it on, the visual aspects of the scene are reduced to zero, and it makes the entire thing feel less intimate and more like two animals just mating. Jace and Mel get a beautiful starry night sky above them with the view of the town. They get a bed, they get sheets, they get lights from the building they're in, they get the sounds of nature. Vi and Caitlyn get Jinx's prison cell, where Miss Girl was removing her cuticles there for days. It's probably humid, moist, and gross since it's underground. There's probably rats and other bugs there. You might even smell like piss. It's a cell. This is where Jinx was trapped for days. I get that was a sense of desperation, and they didn't care about any of that, and they just wanted each other before they had to fight the next day. But still, the writers have full control of this, okay? Where and how it happened. This reminds me of in a movie when two characters ate something that is really stinky and then they kiss, or one of the characters froze up and minutes later they're kissing another character, but the writers forgot about that, and all the audience can think about is the fact that they smell. By doing too much, they did too little. I'd rather just get one really good kiss scene with Vi and Caitlyn than whatever that was. Both scenes are the same length, but one of them feels so much longer, and holy shit, I can't do this. But a lot of queer people see this as an amazing scene, so I guess I just kind of have to make this video and cry in my own corner, hoping people understand it. So yeah, this is how the two sex scenes in the show reflect the different quality of it. Yeah, bye.